Delivers one, I think all the UN agencies should have common actions or collective actions on the SDG goals. Though we have different expertise or mandates or timelines, but we have to package the SDG goals as one, as an entirety.
Hello, my name is Siddharth Chatterjee, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in China, and welcome to Delivering as One, a UN in China conversation. In this podcast, we highlight the heads of UN agencies in China who shape our diversity, discover their motivations, and find out about their work here on the ground. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Dr. Yutong Li, head of the Center for Sustainable Agriculture, a regional institution of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP. Dr. Yutong, a Chinese national, joined the UN in China in 2016. Yutong, welcome to Delivering as One.
Thank you so much, Sid, RC. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for having me here today.
Delighted to have you here. So, tell us a little bit about your early life, your education and work, growing up, your studies, and your early career.
Thank you, Sid. I was born in a military family. My father is a senior Air Force officer with first grade pilot, and my mother is an excellent entrepreneur of a state-run enterprise. So they give me my life's advices as discipline, moving forward, never giving up, and taking actions of result oriented. So that's why I cannot getting up late because I living in a military compound. I always woke up by a bugle in the early morning, 6 o'clock. So that's why I have the habit of getting up very early in this family. That's my life. My study, I got my PhD degree in the China Agriculture University as well as a master degree. I got my bachelor degree in the Zhongnan Financial Economics University of China. I also studied in the policy school of Duke University, sponsored by the State Administration Foreign Affairs, Export Affairs. So I got a lot of knowledge of policy formulation, strategy development, and also how to make the public service match the needs of the beneficiaries. I also studied in the University of Saskatchewan in Canada about the agriculture university. That is a very beautiful university, like a garden. So that's my experiences. My early career, around 30 years of working in the agriculture aspect. So I get a lot of experiences from these experiences. In the early 90s, I started my work in the Agriculture Cooperation Department of Hubei province. So I was engaged in the procurement or delivery materials of aid to the country of Congo and Zaire. So I was engaged of selecting the expert of China and recruit them and transfer them to the target countries in African region. So later on, I worked in the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs in the International Cooperation Department. I served as a director of Agriculture Trade Division as well as International General Service Division. So I once worked for the Agriculture Free Trade Negotiation and policy and strategy formulation for the agriculture sector. I was engaged in the WTO or free trade negotiation, one of the main negotiator. So that's really a very unique experience for me. So I was nearly in around over 100 negotiation meetings. So
Wow.
with between China, ASEAN, China, New Zealand, China, Australia, even China, Peru, and Costa Rica. So I also participated in the policy tariff adjustment coordination council, so related to agriculture policies. So I prepare a lot of reports to the senior officials for the talking points, policies making, or even analysis data information reports to tell the Department of Trade of import or export policies for agriculture products. So that's my mainly working for the government. I am so lucky that before I joined ASCAP system, I was involved in working in the World Food Program headquarters in Rome. So at the time, they selected some young experts all over the world, over 100 countries. I was selected from China to work in the school feeding service office in Rome. I also have the very good chances to visit Egypt, Laos, Greece, China, India for the school feeding program survey. So I collected a lot of good stories or good practices of school feeding program in that countries. And also I make the relevant data analysis and reports. So input into the system of World Food Program. That's a very unique experiences for me to work with the young colleagues with a lot of countries.
How fascinating. How long were you in WFP then, in Rome?
It's nearly around 1 year, so half year in the headquarters and half year in the field visit.
But what a unique combination of your academic studies from China to the US to Canada. And you're bringing such a unique perspective and combine that with your work in government and the WTO negotiation. This is something I didn't know about. Fantastic. That's what makes you such an asset to the UN country team in China. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us.
Yes, thank you.
So tell us, Yutong, this is so fascinating. Having grown up in a military family, got used to the discipline, but I think your parents made sure that you had the best opportunities in education, in the best nutrition, in the best opportunities for good health and to advance you, which is what I see reflected across the Chinese demographic ecosystem, where young people are so knowledgeable, so healthy, so ambitious. So this is quite reflective of the velocity and the direction that China is taking. And I think you represent a microcosm of that with great rise. So tell us about the start of your career with the UN in China. How did you eventually come to work for the UN in China?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I remember in 2016 November. So I got a news that the ASCAP is recruiting for the new head of CSAP located in Beijing. So at that time, I also have very good career future in the government. I also have the chances to maybe work in the USA, Chinese embassy in the United States. But my supervisor said, why not try to just experiences to how to pass the competency test of the United Nations. So I applied this job. I know that there's over 1,000 very excellent candidates all over the world to apply for this post. So maybe because my long period of experiences of working in the agriculture, in the government, also in the UN agencies. So I'm so lucky I was selected by the interview panel. So I got this job and with the top one scores. So that's why I'm
Fantastic.
I'm
Fantastic, no, and I wouldn't just say it's luck; it's the competence and the brilliance that you brought in with the experience you have behind you. It's fantastic. So tell us more about your organization and what do they do to support the people of China and by and large the region, and aligning with not only China's priorities but the priorities of the UN family.
Okay, so CSAM is one of the 5 regional institution of ASCAP based in Beijing. So we serve not only China, but also serve other 62 members and associate members. So CSAM is the only one entity who serve solely for in aspect of agriculture mechanization. So we have our own unique role to support the people of China and also UN for the SDG goals. So we serve the goals of SDG 1, no poverty, and SDG 2, zero hunger. And we noticed that the Chinese government make a very great achievements of food security and the poverty alleviation. So I think our goals matches very well and the priorities matches very well. So for CSAM, we try to set up a multilateral platform for China that China could use these platforms to strengthen the regional cooperation with other countries in the region. So first platform is regional dialogue platform. So we have a flagship project called Regional Forum on Sustainable Agriculture Mechanization in Asia Pacific. So this was organized annually, and China is a very active member of this regional forum. Second platform is regional standard platform. So China had produced high quality various machineries, but when export to other countries, they realized that there's a different standards of testing agricultural machineries. So CSAM played the role of harmonize the different testing agriculture standards, so to have a mutual recognition when they export or import from other countries. Third platform, so we leverage private sector we call it Regional Council of Agricultural Machinery Association in Asia Pacific. So we have over 20 associations in 15 countries. So in China, 3 associations of agricultural machineries were engaged in this network. Through this network, we organize activities every year. So they find their business partners, they match business or investment opportunities. So according to our survey in the previous 3 years, some of the entrepreneurs find that their business partners and have over 20 million US dollars profile from this network. The fourth platform is a South Cooperation platform. So China has very good bilateral cooperation with other countries, but through this South and Triangular cooperation, we have a pilot projects like straw management, avoid burning residue to avoid air pollution. So we have the pilot projects in China and expanded to other countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, pilot in Nepal and Indonesia. So we expanded or tell the good experiences or good cases or practice to other countries. And the fifth platform is a capacity building and technical support platform and engage the young women to engage in this aspect. So that's what CSAM could provide or support to the host country, as well as try to become the connector between China and other countries.
Fantastic. Wow. The straw management thing is such an important issue. I mean, I see this is one of the major causes for air pollution in many parts of South Asia. How widely is this now being put into? Because South Asia suffers from a lot of air pollution, which is primarily related to agriculture, whether it's cutting down of trees and burning the ground for the new crop, or for burning of straw. Is there a bigger strategy to deal with this?
Yes, for CSAM, we implement pilot projects mainly to have the agricultural mechanization solution for these beneficiaries in the project area. So instead of just burning the straw residue, we just encourage them to adopt the machineries that is suitable for the local farmers to transfer these straws into fertilizer or the basic material to produce the mushroom or even to the cow feed. So that's why it's not just a burning, but reuse the residue to create the incomes. So we have very successful pilot projects in Laixi, in Shandong province. After survey, they found that the pollution has been reduced. That's true. The carbon emission has been reduced. The farmers' income increased. Even the milk of the cows, the production increased. So it's a mutual win from these projects rather than just a burning.
So tell us, could you provide us some insight on the key beneficiaries of your organization in China and perhaps because you're a regional office in the region too?
Okay, thank you. Our main beneficiaries in China is smallholder farmers, especially women farmers. We also address the needs, especially for young and female engineers, as well as academicians and scholars. We have several platforms for them to communicate. So before previous years, we also financially support the leaders or managers of the cooperatives to visit the international agricultural machineries exhibitions to broaden their visions. We also organize study tours for the farmers, for the farmer leaders to learn other countries or other provinces in China. We also donated the agricultural machineries to the poverty-stricken areas before they finalized the poverty alleviation achievements. So to have machineries to reduce their heavy burden of the labor force of the farmland. That's our targeted beneficiaries, is mainly the smallholder farmers.
Excellent. Just connected to this, how do you encourage governments and other UN agencies working in these countries where CSAM is working to encourage a focus on smallholder farmers, like IFAD does? The focus is on smallholder farm. How do you encourage that?
We have very close collaboration with the, we call it the Roma-based agencies, Waterfall Program, FAO, IFAD, to work from different perspectives to support the smallholder farmers. For CSAM, we focus on the agriculture, machineries and equipments. So maybe you have already know that in last year, we together with these 4 agencies to publish a series of publications, policy briefings to encourage the young people to be engaged in the innovation technologies. So for CSAM, we share 2 examples or stories of the young people, how they engaged in new cross-cutting technologies and introduced to the farmers and help them to get rid of the poverty and increase their incomes. But FAO, from their perspective, IFAD, they have their own expertise. So we join together. Even we co-organize several events or training to several events. For these straw residue projects, we successfully leverage new resources from the Peace Development Fund. So we plan to collaboration with FAO at the regional level to strengthen these projects in the targeted countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. This is so exciting because, look at, let's say Africa. Africa has 60% of the world's arable land.
Yeah.
In the next 7 years, that is by 2030, agribusiness in Africa will be $1 trillion worth. The challenge we have now is how do you get more young people involved in agriculture? There's a big challenge of unemployment in Africa. Approximately 10 to 12 million people are looking for work every year. But agriculture will be the largest absorber to provide employment. I'm talking about the entire value chain of agriculture. Yes. But the thing is, let's say the previous duty station I was working in Kenya. In Kenya, the median age of a farmer is 62. The median age of the country is 18. Oh. So you can imagine we don't have enough young people because they see as agriculture too much of hard labor and no return. And I think we probably have to look at a strategy of not just in Africa, but all across the world and particularly in Asia, of to make agriculture much more attractive because food security is the biggest challenge today we are facing.
Yes, you're quite right. Now, when we visit some rural areas, we found only
the elderly and women, elderly women, elderly men,
and aging people stay there. The main labor force are over 60 years old.
Yeah.
So how to secure the food security without the young people there?
Exactly.
So for CSAM, from our perspective, we just create some initiative to attract the young people to go back to the rural affairs, like machinery. They may think it's quite cool.
Of course.
Very fashionable work. Maybe they don't like the dirty or muddy work, but driving a tractor, harvesting machineries is so cool and making a lot of money. So it's
and more efficient in time and labor.
Yeah. Yes. So in CSAM, we have one initiative activity together with the China Agricultural University. So we co-organized a robot competition event every year, but to stop during COVID-19 for 2 years. So we checked the Chinese university students and also some students from Asia Pacific region, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Pakistan, to engage in this very cool competition. So the people say that, it's not farmers' work is so fashionable. We can get along with each other. New technology, even drones. These drones can be used for the fertilizer protection. So we just try to attract the young people back to the farmers.
My next question is really to key strategies and priorities. Identify some of the remaining development challenges, for example, faced by China in the coming years, and how ESCAP CSAM, as part of the UN in China and the broader regional network, will assist China in the achievement of the SDGs.
Okay. Thank you for this question. Under your leadership, we have signed the UNDCF with the host country. The priorities, our strategy are quite matches very well, especially for the food security and even for the sixth transition of the UN. The first one is the food system transition. So for CSAM, we focus on this, and as one of the members of UNCT, we focus on 5 priority thematic areas. One is address the smallholder needs and resilience. So we prioritize the needs of smallholders and other vulnerable communities in designing and implementing our programs or activities to address this technical or resource or capacity building. Second priority is support efforts of foster enabling policy environment, not only in the host country China, but also around China. So we provide policy advices and exchange of policy formulation experiences among different countries. From our perspective, during the COVID-19, we provide our policy briefs on how to cope with the use machineries to cope with the post-COVID-19 management. A third priority is to promote sustainable technologies and innovation. So not only attract the young people back to the rural areas, but also to increase the productivity of the food and the crops to secure the food security. We also seek the priority and emphasize to climate smart agriculture and energy and precision farming, digitalization, as well as the post-harvesting. Actually, we request from our window Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs how to cope with the post-harvesting the food loss.
How big is that in China?
They estimated it's nearly 55%, if I'm
that
not
high?
wrong. Yes.
I'm surprised to hear that.
I mean, from beginning to the table to the farmland to
from farmland to fork.
Yes,
Farm to fork.
Yes. So if we can cope with that waste loss, maybe we use that food, we can feed more people.
Of course. Of course.
And the fourth priority is harmonize regional testing standards in the Asia Pacific. And we leverage this expertise from European expertise. And this expertise, as you said, African countries, they said they also need these testing standards to tackle this bottleneck problem of the trade. So I think it could be shared with. And the fifth priority is to promote gender equality and youth involvement. This is not on one positive initiative. It's a cost-cutting of our all projects and initiatives. So this is a 5 priority of CSAM with a member of UNCT to support China. We will execution the priority actions will focus on capacity building, policy advices, as well as the South and Triangular Cooperation pilot project study tool, produce the knowledge products and even e-learning produced if the people cannot travel here.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, you look at Africa, it has 60% of the world's arable land. China has 9%. China has 9% of the world's arable land. Africa has 60% of the world's arable land. China is feeding 1/5 of the world's population with 9% of the world's arable land. Africa, with 60% of the world's arable land, imports about $300 billion worth of food every year. On top of that, it has nearly 60% post-harvest loss. That means farm to fork. I think that this is one area where I see huge possibilities of transforming the agricultural landscape. Because I don't think there's a shortage of food. I think there's just food systems management.
Yes. You're quite right. So China, with very limited arable land, can feed so many people, over 1.3 billion people. So I think some experience lessons could be shared with African countries.
Absolutely.
With that, technologies or expertise or experiences, I think will ensure the food security in African countries.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that, you know, climate change adaptation. You know, today we have enough of technology available that even with climate change, you can actually foster the growth of vegetation and vegetables and fruits, etc., even with the climate change condition. Now there are more modern seeds, etc., which are coming up. And I was at this research institute in Tanzania. In Arusha, and where they produce seeds where you can put it into a desert and it turns into a tomato plant in 1 month's time. And I think we need to find more integration, because what I saw in Kubuchi, the quality of fruits is just excellent. But imagine that's all growing in a desert. And have you been there? You must visit.
I should.
And actually, under the solar panels, they've used the real estate under the solar panels to grow crops and plants. So it becomes like a natural greenhouse.
Yes.
So, it's not affected by the sun and all that. And the solar panels can shift. The drones come in, provide the right amount of water that is needed. It's quite amazing that how the combination of technology and innovation can really turn in. And it could shorten the time of agricultural productivity. Because I think this is what perhaps the continent of Africa needs if it wants to reap the $1 trillion opportunity, which is there by 2030.
Yeah, it is estimated that 1/4 of the carbon emission comes from agriculture sector. So agriculture is a contributor to the
carbon emissions.
Carbon emission, but also suffered from the extreme weather changes, disasters.
Exactly.
So agriculture could do a lot of work on this.
Exactly. Through COVID, nearly 900 million people that are going to bed hungry every day. All right. What an exciting discussion this has been, Yutong. Let's move on to something more personal. Tell us what your daily life looks like.
My daily life, I go to office quite early, but I will check my schedule first. It looks a little boring, but I will figure out top three most important urgent issue, and I will mark it as the one big fish, second big fish, and the third big fish. So I will focus my energy and full time on the first big fish, which is most important and urgent, and give full time on that. Second category is important but not so urgent, but I have to spend a lot of time on that. And the third part is urgent but not so important. And for some issues not so important, not so urgent, I will do it when I have free time. So my daily life, it will first will have categories, different issues, different urgency degree on that. But I really love, besides this, respond to the emails, meetings. I also would like to have a full discussions with my colleague mainstreaming. When some big projects or initiative comes, I will have full discussion with them. I also have some online meetings with headquarters, with our stakeholders to leverage even potential partnership with them. That's my daily.
But that's only work. What about sports? What about exercise? What about music, movies?
Yes, actually, I really admire you encourage young staff, keep smiling,
Keep
keep
breathing.
breathing. During COVID-19, I have the problem, cannot go to sleep very well, but I start to exercise the yoga and also how to say parenting. It is another exercises, but also use good deep breath
Uh-huh.
and strengthen your body.
Right.
So-
Like it's like Tai Chi or something like that.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
it's similar to Tai Chi as
Right.
one part of Tai Chi.
Right.
So after that, every day I spend maybe half an hour.
Excellent.
on
So in the
that.
morning, you do this in the morning, or
In the morning, in afternoon,
okay.
in the evening,
Okay.
after work.
Okay.
So, but after that, it's very good for the health, and
Excellent.
I can go to bed very good sleep.
Very good. Very good. I'm so happy to hear
But
that.
I don't realize before good breathe really have
Breathing is the core. It's the core to
It's
everything.
good. So inhale.
That's why they call the chi,
chi.
the center.
Yeah, deep into the
Into the belly. So that's what is called diaphragmatic breathing. One day maybe I will give a lesson to the whole country team
Yes.
on how to do it properly.
They said it's good for even sing. So sing is another exercise of the body. Sing a song.
So do you sing? Maybe you should sing for us now.
I want to sing, but my husband said the people should have very strong heart to hear my song.
Yeah. Maybe we are planning a UN Family Day in this year, so that maybe we
He's
will
a
have
good
you.
singer. That's why. So his ears is. But I try to practice. Maybe after several years.
Great. So delivering as one. What does delivering as one mean to you?
Okay. Deliver as one, I think all the UN agencies should have common actions or collective actions on the SDG goals. Then we have different expertise or mandates or timelines, but we have to tackle the SDG goals as one, as an entirety. RCU and also RC office play a very unique role of coordinating or the leading synergy all the efforts of different UN agencies to provide public service. That means delivery as one.
Great. Thanks for that. So, and last question. What do you see as an ideal UN resident coordinator?
In my mind, idea RC one should be inclusive and building the trust. I think you set a very good model of the idea RC. As the role of RC should be very active, inclusive, building trust not only with the host country but also with the relevant stakeholders. Second, I think idea RC should be very supportive and also show your very strong leadership. Because for UN agencies, there are various mandates, expertise. We have different initiatives, but I realize that through your leadership and the synergies, it's a very strong team. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, through very regular intensive UN city meetings, You have very close monitoring and dialogue with relevant ministries, monitoring the whole process of the changing policies of the host country, and keep very well of the well-being of the UN staff and the dependents. So we all really appreciate your efforts on that. And another idea I see for me also should have in-depth vision and find the common interest in a very complicated situation. For example, in the current very complicated backdrop of geopolitical environment, but you're innovative to bring that, how to find the common interest like climate change, bring the two men, including China and the United States, together to have more common efforts. It happens. I think now this dialogue and cooperation worked very well. So in this backdrop of complex situation, RC should have the vision like you and find a very pathway to synergy different stakeholders and member states. That's really neat, supportive and the reason of doing that.
Thank you, Yutong. That was very kind of you. Well, that was a fantastic understanding of you, Yutong. I thank you very much for sharing your story and sharing your time with us today. If you would like to learn more, visit china.un.org or follow the UN in China on our X handle. Join us next time for another installment of Delivering as One, a UN in China conversation.
Okay.
Thank you very
so
much. Have a great day.
Thank you.